Hello my friends, and welcome back to Ration Nerd. Today we're going to get into some fun stuff. We're going to get into a little civilian emergency ration, as well as a military emergency ration. This one is from the Spanish Armed Forces, and this one was sent to me by Andrew Carroll. This is the Hurricane Helene emergency meal. This one was handed out by the National Guard during that emergency. We're going to crack into this Chef 5-minute meal just to see what the hell is in this guy. I'm really interested in this, as well as this Spanish emergency ration. I'm excited about both of these, but I gotta tell you, I absolutely have to be 100% honest. I just had one of these because I'd never had one before, because I had two of them and I just really wanted to try one. And let me tell you what, this is probably one of the coolest emergency rations on the planet, but we're going to get into that. This ration was produced in 2021, expired in 2023, absolutely zero shits given. So it has a 2-year shelf life according to the Spanish military, and you'll see why here in just a moment. This one here is a little newer, and it has a best buy date on the back of 7/01 of 25. So we're a little out of date, but that's quite okay. We're going to crack into it anyway. So first thing we are going to do is we're going to crack into this Spanish emergency ration because it's a hell of a lot of fun. And if you like to have a hell of a lot of fun, do you know what your crazy ass could do for this crazy guy? You can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and talk to me in the chat. It's always a great time to hear from you guys. Welcome back, y'all. I don't know where you were, but you've been gone for 7 days, and here you are spending some time with me, and I really appreciate it. So let's move this out of the way, because this is actually going to be my dinner. This is what we're going to crack into first. This is probably, honestly, the best emergency ration I've seen yet, and I've reviewed quite a few. I've did a bunch of US emergency rations, which weren't bad. They were just kind of old and skanky. I also did this German emergency ration, which was actually really neat. And I checked out a Canadian one that was really old and skanky. However, all the contents in this, at least the one that I just had the other day, were perfectly edible. So we're going to crack into it, see what the hell we get. And speaking of getting shit, in case you're not aware, I run a Patreon channel, and on that Patreon channel every month I choose from one of my Patreon members and I give away a ration. Because I have a bunch, and I really like my Patreon members. I like all of you, to be honest, but the Patreon members are laying it down for me. They're putting out $5 a month to be part of the Ration Nerd Herd, and that's really cool. So every month I do a ration giveaway. This month's giveaway, which will happen on next week's review. This 24-hour ration was donated to Ukraine by Poland. It was made by Jamipsa. Menu number 1, 3,900 calories. It is almost 2 kilograms of, well, food. But this is the ration giveaway, so if you want a chance to get a ration for free from this guy, join me on Patreon. And if you're really stubborn and you don't want to join me on Patreon, you could always become a member here on YouTube. That's cool too, but the Patreon is way better because then you have a chance of getting a free ration. Without any further ado, because that's always a lot, because I like to run off at the mouth. I don't know what's up with that. I guess I just like to babble as I'm sitting here talking to you guys when you're not even really here yet. So that's kind of like time travel, I suppose. Like I'm in the past talking to you in the future. Does that really work? I'm not sure. Let's get into the ration. So this thing is 15 ounces, which isn't a whole lot of weight, which is really awesome. And we'll do the calorie count once we get in there, because it does have a nice little destruction sheet in there. So first, let's get into that package. Oh yeah. This thing is really, really neat, really well put together as far as I am concerned. First, let me get the trash out of the way. First and foremost, this thing comes with a plastic lid, which is cool, so you can reseal it. It makes it relatively waterproof, kind of almost, sort of waterproof. And it's also packed in a can, which is really awesome because cans are great, and you'll see why that's a great idea here in just another minute. But let's go ahead and pop into this thing. So there's your nice little plastic lid, so you can kind of reseal it. It doesn't fit precisely on there, but that's okay. Then we have our content sheet, which is always nice. A little bit of instructions in there as well. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it tells you how many calories are in this thing. It certainly does. There are 1,255 calories in this ration. That's pretty goddamn amazing for something that fits in my hand and weighs roughly 15 ounces, which is not very heavy. And who would they issue this to, might you ask? Well, it's issued to all paratroopers, pilots, special operations, and other special teams in the Spanish military, which is really cool. This is a bitchin' ration. I'm really excited about it, if you couldn't tell. Right out of the gate, we have a pack of sugar, which is pretty awesome. That's a 10-gram pack of sugar. Not too shabby. And wrapped up in here and stuck to it, we have a cola flavored isotonic and vitamin gel. That's pretty awesome. When you read the ingredients of this thing, which I was doing when I had the other ration, excuse me, there are 265 calories in this guy, which is pretty awesome, all things considered. And it has a really excellent list of vitamins that are in that. That is a really, really cool gel. It's more than just calories in a gel form that happen to be flavored. They took the time to put some vitamins and stuff in there. That's actually really cool. Everybody loves vitamins. Energy gel, cola flavored. I just want to pet it. Then we have the weakest link in this ration, which are the hard candies. And they call them caramellos, which, hey, whatever. They're hard candies. This is the other component that failed in the ration that I already tried, but we're going to do our best to surgically remove some of those from the package. But you have some hard candies to keep your face hole busy. Then we have a pack of instant beef bouillon, pretty cool. A pack of matches, which is always important, and those have some nice cherry red or fire engine red tips, and they work like a champ. Then the Spanish understand it. You've got to have some coffee to make it through a survival situation, and that's what they gave you. They gave you 2 grams of instant coffee because everybody needs some coffee. I don't care what your situation is. That is absolutely badass. Then we have 2 raucously smelly, which I don't know that this was the best addition to this ration. It is a really great, really handy addition to this ration, although it makes it stink like dead fish, which could be kind of a morale killer. But at least you have some way to get a fire started and to use this steel container as a little pot, which you'll see more about here in a moment. But we have a stanky-ass dead fish gut Esbit tablets. We have a chocolate vanilla energy bar with vitamins. Very cool. And another one of those guys. And yet another 3 of the same items. You know, I really don't care because they're pretty damn good. Maybe a little redundant, but this is only meant to give you enough calories to get through a day in a serious emergency. And then we have a chocolate bar with almonds that's coming in at 30 grams. Pretty bitchin', if you ask this guy. And we have an almond nougat bar, which is, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to crack into these because they're really good. We have this really, really absolutely cool handle. Great addition to this. Actually has a little bit of weight to it, but a lot of thought went into this ingeniously bent little piece of metal because you can hook that onto the side of your can, and now you have a great way to hold your hot ass can as you're boiling up some water for your coffee or your bouillon or just trying to purify some water. Might not be the strongest, most stable thing on the planet, but you know what? It absolutely works no matter which way you want to put it on there. That is a really cool addition to this ration. And we have 4 water purification tablets. Duh, why wouldn't you have water purification tablets? And this is enough to treat 4 liters of water. Each one of those little baby tablets will treat some water. And you have this really cool can, which you can use to cook food, drink water, fry up a baby bunny if you happen to catch one of those in your emergency survival travels. And it's just really bitchin'. I happen to like it a whole lot. And this is 1,255 calories of survival goodness, in this guy's opinion. Maybe minus the candies, because I think that's absolutely the weakest link in this ration, but we'll do our best to get some. I'm going to get some emergency food out onto a tray, and I'll be right back. All right, that's everything out on a tray. Now, before I proceed, one thing I would like to point out, which is a really, really cool detail, as you can see the other can I've got chilling over here on the ration table. This lid, they put a lot of effort into making this lid, kind of epic, all things considered. Like, as far as just a plastic lid that's going on an emergency ration, that's like embossed, the whole entire thing. It's just really cool. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a morale boost or something, but I have kind of boosted my morale. I was like, hell yeah, let's survive the apocalypse. Maybe not the entire apocalypse, but maybe just one day. Anyway, let's start getting all this stuff out here. First and foremost, we got to start making up this coffee and this beef broth. Give me all that broth, yo. Let's get a little sniff of that. I mean, this thing is 2 years out of date, so you got to be careful when you're eating expired items. Or even better yet, what Ration Nerd says, and that smells fine, by the way. What Ration Nerd says is don't eat expired food. It's the safest thing to do. If you want to know what it's like to eat expired food, I've got a bunch of videos where I do it, and some where I actually have to spit that shit the fuck out, because it's just super nasty. But in with the beef bouillon. And you know we gotta get the coffee. I mean, it's dinner time here in Ration Nerd Land, but I give about 0 shits. It's always coffee time. Yes. Give me the bean of the gods in my face. I do like me some Spanish coffee too. And that smells great. It looks a little on the rough side. Maybe some moisture got to this thing. I really don't care. It's 2 years out of date. We're drinking that coffee. And we're also putting that diabetes powder in there. This is helping to bolster the calories in the ration, obviously. I mean, a little bit of sugar never hurt anybody, except for diabetics, but you get the point. There's no cream in here, but I can't even hate on it because this is an emergency ration. All the diabetes. And just like most emergency rations, this ration really is designed for people that don't have access to a lot of water. They do give you ways to purify water, which is really smart. But all these items are meant to be consumed with no water or very little water. The only two items you absolutely have to have water for are the soup and the coffee. Look at that. And I'm really proud of them for putting coffee in this ration because they just understand the planet and they must understand their soldiers. Look at how nice and dark and rich that looks. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that up because I'm really jolly about it. Look how nice and dark that coffee is. Oh, yeah. That is definitely an 8-ounce portion of coffee. And we got to have a spoon. I'll let you pick. Ready, go. Say stop. Okay, fair enough. That Dardanelle Greek ration spoon, if that's what you want, I'm totally okay with it. Now let's give everything a little swizz. That's like black tar heroin on the end of a spoon. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and get a sip of the brew of the gods right here. Let's get a sniff of that Spanish coffee. That smells dark and rich, and it's just warming the cockles of my heart. What the fuck is a cockle? Who even knows and who even cares? Apparently I have them because this coffee just warmed them. Just hold on. I just had a small coffee-gasm in my face. And that coffee, even without cream, that's a perfect amount of sugar for that coffee. 8 ounces made a great, strong cup of coffee. Has just a little bit of bitterness to it, which I happen to like. A small amount of acidity, which I love. That is an excellent cup of coffee, even without cream. The only way they could make this ration any better for this guy is to put some cream in it, but they didn't, and I completely understand why. Now, let's get into the rest of this stuff. Let's check out this almond nougat bar. Yes, look at that sweet little yummy bastard. It's got rice paper on the sides of it, so you don't even have to get your dirty dick beater sticky when you grab this thing. That's an amazing little ration item. So check this thing out. It is almonds and nougat covered with little rice paper. This is an amazing little sweet treat right here. Little protein boost from the almonds. That's never a bad thing. And that chocolate bar with almonds. Now that's got some bloom on it, but I assure you, well, I don't assure you of anything until I take a bite of it. The other one I had was similar to this one, but it is a nice looking, well, maybe when it was new, it was a nice looking chocolate bar. Now it looks a little bloomed, but for a 30-gram bar of chocolate and almonds, that looks pretty amazing to this guy. And because I love you guys, and I do have 2 rations to review, I am going to save one of these to send out in one of my ration giveaways because these damn things are really good. So we're going to grab 2 of these guys and get them out on the tray. These are definitely a little funky looking, but they are a protein and carbohydrate bar. Carbohydrates are good because they are easy for your body to consume without a ton of water. And you do have some protein in there, which will help you stay a little bit more full a little bit longer. Now let's get that second one out here. These damn things are good, and I was really jolly when I decided to review this ration today. I know some people are going to be salty with me because it's not going to be like a hour-plus long review. But let me tell you what, this is a lot of fun. I've actually ordered 2 more of these rations because I want to give some away because these are really neat and I want you guys to have that experience as well. So coming up in the ration giveaway, maybe next month, I'm going to give one of these away because these are a hell of a lot of fun. Really cool. Even though they're expired, they're still amazing. That's kind of hard just to spew out onto the tray, so we'll get to that guy in a minute. We'll check out the condition of these candies, which I'm not holding out a lot of hope that these candies are okay, because they're probably not. So that's the one item in here that's kind of janky. It's over time, these things just break down, and they're all stuck and glued to the inside of the package. I would have loved to have gotten one of these in date, so it wasn't such a pain in the ass to get these candies out of here. But all in all, they're flying all over the place. All in all, you get 3, 4, 5, 6 of these sticky son of a bitches. And it's certainly something to do with your face. And if you don't have a lot of water on hand, that can be really refreshing. It'll force you to salivate, give your mouth something to do, give you something to chew on, something to suck on for a little while, give you some energy, which you're gonna need in a survival situation. Unless you're like fucking Bear Grylls or Superman, which I don't know either one of those guys, you're gonna need something to keep your face busy. So before we go any further, let's check out this beef bouillon. It has a very mild beef bouillon and smell. Let's give it a taste. And it has a mild flavor, very salty though, and you're going to need that salt in a survival situation. Everybody needs a certain amount of salt every day, and you're definitely getting a bunch of it out of this beef broth. That's actually really good. I'm going to save a bit of that because most everything here on this tray is really sweet. So I'm going to need some of that, I think, in a few minutes to balance out my palate. But first things first, let's get into one of these survival protein and carbohydrate bars. Now that has a really waxy outer surface that reminds you of a tropical chocolate, which there's nothing wrong with that for a survival bar. Let's get a little sniff just for fun. And that really smells like a mild vanilla. I mean, I know it sounds weird. It smells very sweet. And I know sweet in and of itself is not a smell, but it certainly smells sweet. It smells just a little bit like chocolate, a whole lot like vanilla, which makes me pretty jolly. Let's get one of these in the face, and while I'm chewing on it, we'll talk about it. That's actually a really good bar. And that's really good. Soft, chewy. The aftertaste has a itty bitty tiny hint of a vitamin flavor because it is fortified with vitamins, and there's not a damn thing wrong with that. If you really wanted to chew that, you absolutely can. But if you just leave it in your mouth, the consistency of it, it just kind of starts to melt away and get softer and softer and softer. Kind of just turns into a paste. You can mush it around inside of your face and extract all the flavor from it you want. This has a relatively satisfying chew, and quite honestly, this should be a dessert item in Spanish regular ration menus. This thing is absolutely yummy. And that would be a morale pick-me-up. I think they did a really good job managing like the macro nutrients this is bringing to the table. It's really chewy, really satisfying. You do have to be a little bit careful with it though, simply because if you do let it melt inside of your face, it gets a little bit of a granular consistency, and that's not even the sugar. I think that's whatever protein powder they added to this, which, to be fair, the protein powder doesn't really have a flavor, which is great. It really just tastes like a little bit of artificial chocolate, which, you know, hey, look, this is a survival bar. You can't expect gourmet. And there's a heavy flavor of vanilla, very sweet, but it's a very satisfying food item. And in an emergency situation, this bar is going to be a morale boost. It's really yummy, really chewy, nice and sweet. Maybe there's a little bit too much sweetness going on in this ration, but to be fair, you don't need a lot of water to process sugar in your body, so it kind of makes sense. But if I was in a survival situation and this is what I had to eat, honestly, I would look forward to every bite of this bar. Even not being in a survival situation, just sitting here chatting it up with you guys, I'm absolutely loving this thing. I can't even wait to crack into the next one because it's just soft and chewy and sweet and yummy. It's kind of like having dessert for dinner. I know that's probably not a great idea, but fuck it. We throw caution to the wind here on Ration Nerd and we eat what we want. Did you want to see an imprint of my teeth and what that looks like on the inside? Of course you do. Check that guy out. That is a good looking survival bar. It's soft, it's chewy, it's yummy. I'm in love with this thing. It really should be a regular, everyday Spanish ration item. They're missing the boat by not putting these in their rations. I'm going to get a little sip of this coffee just to clean out the palate a little bit before we move on to some of these other items. That is a really, really good cup of coffee in a survival situation. I would literally be praying to the coffee gods because that is absolutely amazing. All right, now let's check out this nougat bar. I love the fact they put the rice paper on the side of that. Really awesome. Let's bring that up so you guys can get a little, well, not a cross section, but get a close look at it. It's chunky, it's almondy, it's got some nougat in there. Let's throw this back in the face and see what that's bringing to my emergency dinner plate. That is good. That is really, really good. And that's certainly a nice balance with this extremely sweet bar. That's only mildly sweet. The nougat is nice and creamy. Even being 2 years out of date, it's perfectly edible, not even stale, no rancidity whatsoever. I know they put a 2-year shelf life on this thing, but everything so far has been pretty badass. This is awesome. Really nice and satisfying. Get a little bit of protein from the almonds, but really why I think they added this, not only is it calories, but it takes a while for your body to process nuts. So this is going to help you. It takes your body a while to process nuts. That's what she said. But it's going to keep you full for longer because it's going to take your body longer to break those nuts down. Break the nuts down. Oh, God, I'm such a child. But anyway, that is a really good bar. Serves an interesting, excellent purpose in this ration. Not overly sweet. Nice and chewy. Nougaty with lots of little almond chunks in there. That is good stuff. Gotta go in for another sip of that coffee. Now, I'll be 150% honest with you guys. I did try the majority of the contents of that other ration that I was nibbling on, but I did not try the isotonic cola flavored gel. So we're going to get into that together. Now, this package does sound like it has a little bit of delamination going on. Let me see if I can get that close enough to the camera that maybe you guys could hear it. I'm not scared though. Well, maybe not completely scared. So this will be my first tasting of the gel. I knew what the bars tasted like because I just couldn't help myself because, well, I'm a nerd like that. But let's check out this. Oh, that cola. That's more like a syrup than a gel. That's really interesting. The list of vitamins in this is pretty awesome. The vitamin content is absolutely going to help you in a survival situation. That is thick and syrupy more than it is like a gel. Let me give that a little sniff. That smells like cola syrup. I'm going to stick this right in my face and give that a taste. Wow, that is intense. Oh, that's great. It's like an uncarbonated cola syrup. That's really good. That tastes great. And it has vitamins and everything in it. It's like Brondo. It's got what ration nerds crave. I wonder. First of all, I need another spoonful of that because it's really, really good. But I wonder if you could mix this with some water and make yourself a little bit of cola flavored drink. I think that's what we need to get onto. I do have another package of this, so if I really screw the pooch, I can enjoy it just like this again. But I think this would make an excellent drink. Just mix some of this syrup with some water. We're gonna be right back. That is good. Let's get all of that cola gel into the glass. Every last little drop of that sweet, gooey goodness. Get out of there. All of the droplets, please. Look how nice and dark and rich and thick that stuff is. It really is. It's just cola syrup. It's crazy. Cola syrup fortified with vitamins. Awesome sauce. And we just have a little bit of water left. So that's about 200 mils of water, and I already took 2 relatively large spoonfuls out. So let's see what happens when we mix this up. Let's see if that gel made a pretty decent drink. I have a feeling the answer is going to be yes. Ha! Absolutely. That is absolutely yummy. That would be a great way to take some treated water that you treat with your water purification tablets and at least get one small portion of that water tasting absolutely amazing, because it's like a flat soda. I kind of like flat soda, and if you were in a survival situation and you didn't have shit else, I bet you'd be loving some flat soda water too. That was absolutely excellent. That was a completely great idea. Before I even get into the chocolate bar and some candies, I just feel the necessity. I am drawn to take another bite of this vanilla energy bar. Yummy as fuck. I just gotta share these with somebody. These things are really yummy. You know, I really gotta say, for an emergency ration, they put a hell of a lot of thought into this. They made some really yummy items. They fortified just about everything with vitamins. They gave you that energy gel, which turned into a great drink. And they give you some bouillon. It's the only real savory thing in the ration, but that's your salt content. You could also use that to like season a rat or like a snake or a baby bunny. Anything that you catch out in a survival situation and cook up in your nifty little pan, you can season it with some beef bouillon. That's kind of what I think I would save it for, just in case I was able to trap or catch something. I'd have a way to season it, and I'd still get my salt content, which would be pretty awesome. But there's something to be said about an emergency or survival ration that actually makes you want to eat the food. Granted, you're supposed to make this last all day, and it's only 1,200 calories, so that's a reduced calorie diet for most people, especially in an emergency situation. But it beats the shit out of starving. It also beats the shit out of having items that you're not really crazy about, and you're just eating them because you're starving. This actually makes you want to eat it. Maybe a little dangerous because you might eat it too fast, but if you're smart, you'd space it out throughout the day and look for that baby bunny I keep talking about. I don't know. Instead of me just sitting here rattling it off, I'll bring that up for you guys. Maybe the camera will focus on that properly. And you can pause the video at your leisure to take a look at those micro and macronutrient informations on there. And before I get to be an absolute sticky mess trying to get some of those candies out of the wrapper, let's get into this really heat stress and completely bloomed chocolate and almond candy bar. Let's get a big old bite of that. It smells like it's bloomed. If bloomed chocolate was a smell, it certainly smells like that, you know? And the odd thing is, as bloomed as that chocolate bar is, it still tastes great. The nuts are still perfectly fine, not rancid. It's sweet, it's chocolatey, it's a little bit waxy. It's more of a tropical style chocolate, not Not completely tropical chocolate, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a bit more heat resistant. That might be why it bloomed the way it did, or not. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is the almonds are not rancid. The chocolate still tastes perfectly fine. It looks pretty janky, but it tastes just fine. Adding the almonds to this, again, really good idea. They're packing some calories into you with some chocolate, relatively shelf-stable chocolate. That is a really well thought out emergency ration item. Not only do you have a little morale boosting chocolate bar that's packing some calories into you, and it's got a bunch of nuts in it, which we already talked about the nuts. What happens when the nuts get in your stomach? Well, it takes a while for your stomach to break down the nuts. I said nuts again. Let me eat this bar before I say something else stupid. Little salty palate cleanser with that beef bouillon. I honestly could have added a lot more water to that. It's really strong and really salty. If you do get one of these, I would definitely go with probably 10 to 12 ounces of water. I did about 7 or 8 ounces. Definitely needs a little bit more. That's a nice concentrated beef bouillon. So let's try to find the least sticky of the candies in here and just give one of these a go. I mean, they're all boiled sweets or hard candies, whatever you want to call them. Caramellos, as it says on the package. It's just flavored sugar and some coloring either way. It's something to do with your face and some extra calories and a way to keep your dry ass, I really need some water mouth from like completely gluing itself shut, which probably wouldn't be a good idea in case you needed to yell for help. But let's get one of those sticky little hard candies in the old face hole. And that actually has a really excellent lemon flavor. That makes me want to crack in one of these orange to see if the orange is as good as the lemon. And that only took way too long, but let's check out that orange. And quite honestly, no bullshit, that was one of the better orange candies I've ever had. It really just tastes like citrus oil and sugar, which is absolutely awesome. Or more like an orange oil and sugar. I don't know what flavor that brownish one is, but it is completely gooey and it's like leaking out of the package. No thanks. I'm not going to go in for any more of the hard candies, but that was a hell of a good time. But absolutely, no joking around, no bullshit. I think this is one of the best thought out emergency rations I've seen from any military. Considering this thing weighs less than a pound, is easy to stick in a cargo pocket or any space in your pack, this is a great option for an emergency situation. 1,255 calories in something this size. You have something to cook with, a way to hold it in case this gets too hot. You have Esbit tablets to start yourself at least, getting a fire started or cooking your food, a way to hold onto that hot ass pan, water purification tablets, matches, and a bunch of items that are actually really enjoyable to eat, which I think makes an exceptional emergency ration. This was really well done. This was a Spanish Armed Forces emergency ration. We're going to move on to that Hurricane Helene ration and get our emergency ration fix on. But hey, there's enough shit going on the planet right now that kind of having some information on how to put your own emergency survival kit together might be a really bitchin' idea. I'll be right back. All right, now we have this Chef 5-minute meal, Hurricane Helene ration, chicken pasta parmesan, and a tomato cheese sauce. I'm pretty sure that's probably not how the National Guardsmen said it when they handed it out to my buddy Andrew that sent this into the channel, but I'd like to think so. I'd like to think even a member of the National Guard would just have a little bit of sense of humor, get people laughing, get people smiling. Could you imagine a guy from the National Guard with all these people that are kind of miserable and nasty standing around handing these rations out going, who wants a chicken pasta parmesan and a tomato cheese sauce? You know, it would just be a good time. Maybe people should put a little bit more effort into having some more fun. So stop bitching at me for having fun, because you know what? Fun makes the world a better place. So stop being so goddamn grumpy. Maybe the planet will get better. Anyway, let's crack into this Chef 5-minute meal. As you can see, right on top, we have our 200 calorie retort pouch of that chicken parmesan pasta and a tomato cheese sauce. What else is in here? This is kind of interesting. Hey, look at that. One whole wheat tortilla. I was kind of expecting this was going to be a little bit more basic bitch, but check that out. A tortilla. Not too shabby. Instant granola cereal with latte, honey, and almond. That's actually really neat. Got a little fill line on there to tell you how much water to put in there. Oh shit, this is actually kind of really neat. 120 calories of crackers. You know you want some crackers, cracker. Then we have a pretty large and in charge flameless ration heater. That's really cool. We're definitely going to give that a go. We have 3 slightly melted peppermint hard candies because apparently after this, your face hole's really going to stink and you need all the peppermint you can get. Check that out. We have a really large pack of Paco Pack mixed fruit jelly. That's kind of neat. You can actually see the jelly through the back. It's a little bit thick, but that's going to go really good on those crackers, or maybe even on the whole wheat tortilla. We'll figure it out as we go along, but that's a pretty decent sized pack of jam, all things considered. And then we have some salt-free seasoning. I don't know if they're trying to punish you with that, or that's just kind of weird. Dehydrated onion, garlic, green bell peppers, carrots, tomato, spices, sugar, dehydrated lemon peel, citric acid, and then some silicon dioxide, because you got to throw something weird in there. That actually doesn't sound too hateful, except for the lemon. I'm not a big fan of lemon on savory food. That's just my taste buds. Your mileage may vary. Look at that. And we have, a little bit of baby spork. A little bitty baby spork. That thing is, whoa. That is absolutely a single-use affair. You will be lucky if you make it through the entire meal with that thing. Look at that guy. That is definitely interesting. It's just a little bitty baby guy, and it's super flimsy, but hey, at least they give you something to eat with. And they even give you a little styrofoam tray to eat your meal in. That's not the worst thing ever. It's not great, but it's certainly not the worst thing I've ever seen. And that is everything contained in a Chef Express 5-minute meal. Chicken pasta parmesan in a tomato cheese sauce. We're going to get all this out onto a tray. Not that one, but a real one. And I'll be, wait. Sorry. I missed the salt and pepper, which is always really cool to have some salt and pepper. And a really paper thin napkin, but hey, at least you get a napkin. As you can see my flesh right through that thing, so you're not wiping your butt with this thing. This is just to get the food off of your face, but hey, at least you get something to get that food off of your face. Now, this is everything contained in a Chef 5-minute meal. This actually looks like a pretty decent fun time. I'm gonna get this out onto a real tray, and I'll be right back. All right, so the first thing we have to do is get that meal heating up in this really righteous, super large and in charge flameless ration heater. Honestly, if you were with another family member that was given one of these meals, you could probably fit 2 of your mains inside of this bag, provided that this heater actually works. But to be fair, if that's a really big ration heater, that's really cool. And it's scored at the top here for easy's herring. Oh, almost easy. There you go. Look at that. Dear U.S. military, are you watching this right now? Oh, that's absolutely cool. They already have some non-potable water in there. Really cool. I was wondering why this thing was so damn heavy, because I wasn't opening my eyeballs. That's why. So that has an 8-chambered ration heater in there. Not too shabby. And let's check it out. Let's get our activator, which is really probably just water and salt. See if we can not dump this all over the ration table. That would also be a smart idea. Give it a little shaky shake to get the water all over that heating element. And sit that off to the side. Let's see what happens. Now thing's putting in work already. That bag's getting large and in charge, and it's getting ready to unfold itself. That's always a good sign. Let's check out this one whole wheat tortilla. Apparently you need a knife, because that's not really that easy to open. That's okay. Check that out. That smells a little odd, if I'm being honest. It smells like it's a little on the stale side. You never know. This ration could have gotten really hot before it was handed out, and it's ever so slightly out of date. Yeah, it smells a little weird. That's okay. I've eaten stranger things. And we have those Royal Cream crackers. Hey, that's like really big pilot bread crackers. That's kind of interesting. You get 2 of those bad boys. And we have honey and almond instant granola, which is pretty cool. That's a 230 calorie item. That's not bad. So you figure the total calorie count on this ration is 200 for the main, 230 for the granola. So we're up to 430, 120 calories for the crackers. That brings us up to 550, 90 calories for the tortilla. That brings us up to 640. I'm just going to kind of guesstimate that this is probably about 50 or 60 calories with the candies added and everything. We're getting close to the 700 calorie mark. That's actually a really decent size meal if you consider that you really should have 2,000 calories roughly a day. That's not bad at all. Let's get this granola hydrating. This is actually a really neat little meal. I'm really glad I decided to review this with the other emergency ration, because you never know. Maybe you're out there trying to plan for an emergency, and maybe this is a great thing you could carry with you in your car, in your bag, on your bicycle, on your scooter, whatever your mode of transportation is. It might be a good idea to have a couple of meals chilling with you in your vehicle in case you get stuck somewhere. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Let's take a look at that instant granola with milk. Is there a do not eat in there? I certainly do not see one. And that has just a tiny bit of a stale smell. Let's take a look at that inside of the package. That's all right though. Stale does not mean it's bad. It just means it's a little stale. And yes, I'm absolutely having this instant cereal cold because I'm just not in the mood for hot cereal. If I was, I probably would have mixed it up in this bag just like I'm doing now. And then I probably would have tried to do some kind of crazy balancing act where I rolled this up really tight. We're just going to go ahead and mix it up in this bag, and then we're going to have it cold just because we can. All right, let's see how that turned out. I mean, I followed the directions. I put the water up to the line, but that's real soupy. Maybe they're just trying to force you to hydrate by telling you to put that much water in there. Maybe I screwed the pooch on it. Who knows? But I did follow the instructions. I just put the water up to the line. I mean, I might be a goober most of the time, but this time I was on point. I was watching that water content. Look at that thing go. That's a great FRH. Hello, U.S. military. Can you see that 5-minute chef meals can put an actual factual flameless ration heater together? That's absolutely amazing, isn't it? You should probably be watching. That cereal's looking pretty hateful, but we're going to give it a couple of minutes to soak. And we're also going to give that main a couple of more minutes to heat up. Meanwhile, let's see exactly how stale this tortilla may or may not be. Let's get a little bite of that guy. We'll just break it up into a bunch of pieces. Take a look at that. That looks like a wheat tortilla. Not a damn thing wrong with a whole wheat tortilla, unless it's uber stale, but let's throw that in the face and see exactly how stale it is or is not. Yeah, that's got a pretty severely stale flavor to it. That's the one thing with civilian items. They certainly weren't packaged in as thick of a packaging as it would be like an MRE or a military item. This probably would not have gone this stale if it was in a slightly thicker packaging. But these Chef 5-minute meals aren't all that pricey. So for what you're getting, as long as you eat them in a reasonable amount of time, it certainly wouldn't be a bad thing to have with you for an emergency. I can't eat any more of that. That has got such a horrible, stale, almost mildly rancid flavor. Oh, that is lingering in my face, and there's no drink with this ration, which, well, kind of sucks, but it's understood. This is just food. They would probably give you a bottle of water with this, so at least you'd have something to drink. And that thing is really radiating some crazy heat. I have absolutely no doubt that that is going to be a hot-ass retort pouch of food. But let's check out one of these crackers, which I'm going to call pilot crackers because that's exactly what they look like. Let's give you guys a little cross-section on that. It wasn't very tough. It was nice and soft and kind of fluffy. Let's go ahead and get a little nibble of that cracker and see if it's stale or if it survived. And that cracker is really interesting. Almost like it has a little bit of a shortening content. It absolutely survived. That probably would have made out a whole lot better if they would have given you a white flour tortilla instead of a whole wheat flour tortilla. Nice and light and crunchy. We wouldn't think it would be. Kind of looking at it, it looks like a really thick, almost hardtack cracker. That's not what it is at all. Nice and light and airy and crunchy on the inside. It's actually a pretty decent damn cracker all by itself. Really no condiments needed for that. Has a little bit of a salty flavor, which I kind of enjoy, but it almost has more of a cookie consistency, which is really odd. But odd in the best kind of way, not in a bad way. So let's try out this mixed fruit jam, see if that survived. It is looking a little thick on the inside of that container. Almost looks like I'm just squeezing a fruit chew out of there. That's all right though. Oh, look at that. Oh, goopy. Excellent. That's definitely seen some heat stress and some age. That is completely okay though. Let's try to get that in the face and see what that pilot cracker has to say about that mixed fruit jam. And that's not that bad. It's really just something sweet to put on the cracker. When they say mixed fruit, they absolutely mean it. That's not apple. It's not peach. It's not grape. It's not strawberry. Very gooey, probably because it's a little out of date, but it doesn't have any specific fruit flavor. It's just kind of sweet and gooey, almost like a mildly fruit, like random fruit flavored syrup. It's actually pretty decent, to be fair. It goes really well with these pilot crackers. And while we're waiting on that main, which I don't even think we really have to wait any longer, because damn, that thing is kicking out some heat. That's a great FRH. Let's try some of this cereal with milk. I think I screwed the pooch and put too much water in it. I should have listened to my gut. I should have just put a little bit of water in it. I like mueslis and stuff like that, kind of thick, especially like oatmeal. I like it thick and pasty. I don't really like it watery and runny, but I did follow the instructions. But let's just get a big old bite of it. I would bring that up to you. Oh, I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck it. I'm just going to drip it all over myself because that spork is just going to make a mess out of me. but that is not a bad looking muesli cereal or instant cereal. The milk powder is a little lacking in there, especially for how much water they want you to add, but let's see if this stuff survived. The packaging was a little bit thin, but let's cross our fingers. And that's not great. It certainly tastes stale, probably because I put too much water in it. It is a little stale as well, so with these Chef 5-minute meals, I would definitely say eat them inside of their expiration date, or you might get some stale items like that tortilla, which I just can't take another bite of, and that really thick-ass jam, unless Andrew wants to chime in and let me know if the jam was always that thick when he was getting these things. But this will definitely help to fill you up, coming in at damn near 700 calories, and it's a free handout in an emergency. You really can't say too much about it, except for, hey, thanks for a free meal. And that spork is fucking me up. I mean, literally, as I was bringing that last spoonful to my face, the milk juice flung off the end of the spoon, hit me on my fucking arm. It's running down my arm, and then a drop of it hits my goatee, runs down my shirt. It's a rip-roaring good time. Sporks are not a great idea. I mean, unless you like wearing a good portion of your meal, because at that point, your shirt is just kind of like a roadmap of what you just ate for dinner, or lunch, or breakfast, or whatever. But if you like wearing a roadmap of your meals throughout the day, by all means, get yourself a spork. It'll assist you with that. But if you don't like to spill food all over yourself, just don't use a spork. Kind of feel bad for the people that got issued these meals during Hurricane Helene. Maybe that main in there is pretty good, but the rest of these items, the cereal, it's just so-so. The crackers are pretty good. I would bet you that tortilla was way better when it was not like right on the edge of rancidity. All right, let's see what this main has to offer. If nothing else, it'll be roaring hot, which for savory food normally helps a great deal when something's nice and hot. That thing got really crazy hot. Oh, that's great. That's almost too hot to touch hot. That's awesome. Look at that. And that thing is still smoking. That's a really, really good flameless ration heater. Hats off to 5-minute chef meals for acquiring a great flameless ration heater. And that thing, that is roaring hot. That's great. So let's get our chicken pasta parmesan in a tomato cheesy sauce out onto the tray. And that is a really, really thin retort pouch, I have to tell you that. Certainly not military grade. Oh, come on now. Ugh, Jesus. Oh, it's getting all over me. It's time to bring in the big guns. Should have did that in the first place, but anyway, let's get this out onto the tray. Ooh, that is really hot. Ooh, goddamn, that is smoking hot. That was a great FRH. That's insanely hot. And you will burn the shit out of yourself if you are not careful. That is good stuff. Oh, I'm trying to get it all out of there, but I'm literally like losing my fingerprints. All right, well, it's time for this pasta to get its day in court. So let's see what we got going on in here. Actually do see a big old piece of chicken right there. That's not too bad. That actually does not look like canned chicken. That's just a piece of dark meat chicken. Nothing wrong with that. Do see a little bit of seasonings floating around in here. Other than that, we just have this nice tomato sauce and the chicken and the noodles. Not a whole lot to report. Yep, there's some more seasoning over here. Really not a bad looking meal. It smells pretty savory. Has a really nice tomato sauce smell, at least from where my head is right now. But let's bring that up to you carefully so I don't drip this molten hot pasta on my face. You can check out the first bite of that pasta. Time for your day in court, buddy. Now, that's not great, and it's not bad either. I mean, it's kind of right there at like US MRE quality, except for the fact that chicken is way more natural. It just needs I think this really needs more seasoning. So we're going to roll with the salt and pepper. And when I say more seasoning, I'm not really talking about salt and pepper. This could probably use like some more oregano, some more garlic powder or garlic salt. It's just a little bit lacking as far as seasoning goes, but you know what? It's not bad. To be honest, I think it's better than most of the US MRE pasta dishes, except for that one I just had out of the C-car. If that was hot, that would have been bitchin'. But it wasn't. It was dead cold the way it was supposed to be eaten. Let's get all that pepper out onto that dish. And before we break out that salt-free seasoning, it has lemon stuff in it. Let's try a bite of this with some salt and pepper just to give it a fair shot. Get a big old piece of that chicken on there and some more of those shells. Talk to me, Mr. Pasta Dish. It's much better with the salt and pepper, but honestly, it's just missing some key ingredient to tomato sauce. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's oregano. Maybe it just needs more garlic. The salt and pepper helps a little bit. I'm getting ready to crack into that salt-free seasoning just to see what kind of flavors I can tease out of this stuff. I just think they're missing a key ingredient in this tomato sauce. I can't put my finger on it. We'll try a little bit of this salt-free seasoning just for shits and giggles. Let's get some on there. We'll go with about half. We'll put half on half of the dish. See if that seasons it up a little bit. I really hope that it does, because honestly, that flameless ration heater kicked ass. I would love to have like a whole case of those things. Those things work like a champ. The meal itself, though, it's not hateful for a handout, to be 100% honest. This pasta could just use something, and I know that sounds like I'm being a dick because this was handed out for free, so you can't expect something that you get handed out for free in an emergency to be a culinary fucking masterpiece, and I understand that, but hopefully you're not watching me thinking I'm just going to make everything I put in my face sound great just because it was a free handout from the National Guard to my friend Andrew, who sent it to me knowing what kind of guy I am, that I was going to tell the absolute truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about the contents of this ration. And I knew he gave no shits because he understands the Ration Nerd. The Ration Nerd just likes to tell you exactly how it is. I'll be damned. That seasoning is not that bad. It actually added all the extra flavor that needed to be not great, but decent. Give me all that. I gotta say, that salt-free seasoning blend isn't that bad. I've had some salt-free seasoning blends that were absolutely nasty. This isn't one of them. Now, granted, this isn't a gourmet meal, but what it is, after you put all the salt, pepper, and the salt-free seasoning on it, is acceptable. It's decent. It actually tastes pretty damn good. So once you doctor it up with some seasoning, you have 200 calories of really hot pasta and chicken, which isn't too bad. There's not a whole lot of chicken in here, so you're not getting an enormous protein boost out of it. But honestly, for the cost of what you can pick up one of these Chef 5-minute meals for online, it's not a bad gig, especially if you're not great at putting things like this together yourself and you don't really feel like taking the time to figure it out. This could really be a lifesaver in a bad situation. I mean, I would bet you that there were, I don't know, a couple thousand people that got stranded on Interstate 95 in a freak snowstorm like last year or the year before, whatever the hell it was, that totally would have paid great money for one of these in the middle of that storm when they were stuck in their car, running out of gas, freezing their ass off, and didn't have anything to eat. This would have been an absolute lifesaver for a person like that. So maybe that's something you want to consider. Just food for thought. Speaking of food, well, and there it is. With a big old piece of chicken in there. That's the last bite of that pasta dish out of that Chef 5-minute meal. This would be a great emergency meal option, provided it's still in date. Shit, everything was edible. For the price, I think these things are well worth it. I mean, unless you were Andrew and the price was getting fucked up by a hurricane, I'm not saying that price is worth it. And this is the National Guard was being stingy and not giving out MRE spoon drop, fuckers. And just because it's here, and we can, we're going to polish off that pilot bread cracker with that mixed fruit sweet goop. And because it's the last thing in the ration, and you know we got to try one, let's see about these slightly melty peppermint candies, if we can extricate it from the packaging, that is. Well, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. So there's that guy for you. It's taken a little bit of heat damage. That's okay, though. It's probably still nice and pepperminty, if that's even a word. And that peppermint candy's not bad. It's a little stale. It's a little melty, but it has a nice peppermint flavor. Nice and sweet, just like a relatively inexpensive candy cane. So that's a nice way to get some of that stinky mess kind of cleared up in your face hole. And you get 3 of them, which is actually kind of cool. Well, my friends, that was dinner. Thanks, Andrew. This was a lot of fun. If I would have got to this before it expired and this tortilla wasn't going rancid and the cereal wasn't as stale as it is, and I did put a little bit too much water in it, so that's on me, but that's not going to kill that stale flavor. The crackers and jam were pretty decent, and after you season the shit out of it, that main was relatively acceptable. I really don't have too many complaints about it. And of course, this ration needs some work, but it is relatively inexpensive. It's widely available, and it has just about 700 calories in it, which is a decent sized meal for your normal person. The crackers and jam were pretty decent. I actually like the crackers way more than I did the jam. The jam was just way too generic, just randomly sweet. The main, though, once you put all of the seasoning contained in the ration in it, was pretty decent, and that flameless ration heater was absolutely off the hook. US government, are you watching? Are you ever watching? Do you ever fucking pay attention to anything? Probably not. That spork sucks ass. But again, and you do get this little cheesy styrofoam tray. God damn, this table's a mess. Thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd, where today we got into that Chef 5-minute meal, the Hurricane Helene ration. and this Spanish Armed Forces emergency ration. This was a hell of a lot of fun and is great food for thought for you guys to be able to make your own emergency food kits. There's lots of stuff at the grocery store, at the dollar store, at your local convenience store that you could pack into a small box and carry with you in your vehicle and keep yourself fed, at least for a short period of time, on some really calorie-dense foods, hopefully high in fat, maybe some protein. Throw some water in there, do it up right, or you could look for a Spanish emergency ration or order you some 5-minute chef meals. One way or the other, I want all my peoples to be safe and happy and well fed. And you know what? Sometimes an ounce of preparedness is worth it, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. So stay healthy, stay safe, and keep on eating rations. But anyway, if you like to stay healthy and safe, you know what you could do for this guy. You could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you could always talk to me in the chat. It's absolutely awesome. Don't forget the ration giveaway is going to be that bitchin' Ukrainian ration, a whole 24-hour ration. If you want a chance at winning it, you can join me on Patreon. I'm going to stop babbling and get on with the outro so you know how it goes, or at least I hope you do. And if you don't, I'm going to share with you because I'm that kind of guy. If you can find something cooler than this Spanish Armed Forces emergency ration or a 5-minute chef meal that I happened to kind of put the bag in the trash can and it got all nasty and goopy so I can't smack it off the table. Sorry, Andrew. You absolutely know what to do. Eat 'em up.
Man, I hate to be that guy that ain't doing his job, but I'm gonna be honest, I ain't really got a whole lot to say this week because, like, we actually kind of had some cool ration items and there wasn't anything that was, like, super janky. I mean, some of them tortillas was kind of nasty because they was rotten as shit, but, other than that, man, like, we had some cool stuff, and it's like, that Spanish ration's like having a box of candy bars, which is kind of cool, even though it's probably better for you than that. But I don't know, like, it was just really neat. And I don't know, man, like, sometimes I ain't got a whole lot to say, and like, it's in my contract though, like, I gotta get on here and talk or I'm gonna lose my job. So I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna blabber off about some stuff. Like, how you guys doing? Like, you ever have one of them days where, like, you really just don't feel like doing your job, and but you gotta go do it, and then that shit gets really old. You're like, man, I ain't trying to be here right now. Like, I'd rather be home taking a nap, or like playing some video games, or just like fucking off randomly, maybe going out and, I don't know, doing something, maybe hollering at some hoochies on the block or something, you know what I'm saying? Because Sling Ration be like OG like that. Like, I like to go out on the block and holler at the hoochies and drink me like some Fripple or something, but I ain't supposed to talk about that kind of stuff because Ration Nerd said that ain't nobody want to hear about my side activities of, like, chasing ass and like drinking and hanging out with the boys and stuff, but nobody wants to hear about that shit. But man, I ain't really got shit to talk about, y'all, so I'm just gonna have to say, man, that motherfucker be saying eat 'em up, but I'm gonna be like, drink 'em up, bitches.